In today's episode, I want to help you answer a question that most people don't think through clearly enough. You see, a lot of people like the idea of owning a franchise, but liking the idea and being ready for it are two very different things. And getting this wrong can cost you time, money, and stress. So let's talk about how, if you're ready to own a home service franchise today. Let's get into it.
Hi, I'm Peter Karunas, husband, father of 4, and Chief Growth Officer of a home service franchise system. This channel is about real conversations on franchising, the trades, and building a business that actually lasts. And in each episode, I break down the lessons, the mistakes, and opportunities that I see every day inside of the home services industry so that you can make more informed decisions along the way. Thank you so much for being here, and let's jump right on into it.
Being ready for franchise ownership isn't really about confidence. It's not really about excitement. And so many times I see candidates in front of me, they're just really excited. They're confident in the fact that they can do this. And it's great and all, and that's definitely an element. But it's really about alignment more than anything else. Alignment with your finances, alignment with your time, alignment with your expectations, and alignment with your mindset. So, there are a couple of points here I'm going to make in today's video, but if you're taking that statement that I just made and thinking to yourself, no, it's about excitement. It's about my confidence. I know I can own this. I know I can be an electrician and I own that electrical company. You got another thing coming. The franchisor that you should be talking to, or if you do get a chance to talk with me, we're going to talk about this more than anything. I like the hype. I like the excitement, and I'll just say that's it. That's all that it is. Excitement and confidence. Okay, if you exude that, great. But if you're a really good franchisor caring about the longevity of your brand, you're going to need to really talk to your candidates about this, and you should expect to be spoken to about these items. So sign number 1 is you want ownership and not just the escape. If the only reason why you're looking at a franchise is to escape a job that you hate, perhaps, or, maybe one that you've worked at for too long and just feel stuck at, that is a warning sign, okay? Franchise ownership still requires responsibility. Remember, the best owners are running towards ownership, not just away from something. And that's why we don't talk about passive ownership in our franchise systems. We don't talk about, I want to buy this business and put somebody else in charge of it. What would you be doing if that happens? If you want business ownership, you need to ask yourself this one question. How do I fit in this brand, and what does my day-to-day look like? If you're asking me that on our calls, we might have alignment. Sign number 2 is that you actually respect systems. Franchising is not buying a business, it's buying a business model. This is something I tell a lot of people on almost every day, so it comes natural to me. But franchising is built on systems. So if you hate structure, if you hate processes, if you want to reinvent everything, if you want to use your own vendors, if you want to negotiate your own contracts, you're going to struggle, and franchising is not for you. I would tell you that on our first call. Owners who succeed in franchising respect the playbook, and they look for ways to improve it responsibly and collaboratively with their franchisor. This is a very important piece to the puzzle for you to ask yourself, which part of this spectrum are you? Are you one that doesn't want to reinvent the wheel? Or are you one that wants to create, innovate, and do it yourself? I understand both sides of that spectrum, and there is nothing wrong with either side. But don't tell us what you think you want us to hear. Be truthful with it. If you tell us, no, I'm a process follower. You invented the playbook. I'm going to follow it. And then 3 months later, you don't like what you're reading and you say, I don't like this. I'm going to do it a different way. That's a lot of what people are not talking about going on in franchising. Let me tell you that right now. The best case scenarios are the pack followers, the ones that say, hey, look, we've already trailblazed the way for you. We've implemented this system. We've implemented this software. We know it works. If you stay at it, you will see the fruits of the labor come your way. But if you just like want instant results and you're not willing to follow the time and playbooks that we've put forward, I'm sorry, franchising is not going to be long for you. You might fail at franchising and you might struggle to get out of your franchise system if you just simply want to be Mike and John Plumbing Inc. instead of, maybe 1-800-Plumber plus Air because you don't like the way that we do things. So sign number 3 is you understand this is not passive. So there's no such thing in my book as a passive ownership in the early stages of franchising, okay? Even with the greatest support, and I think our system has some of the best support in franchising, leadership's going to matter here. You don't need to do everything, but you do need to care very deeply about your business model. You've invested X amount of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars into this business. And you need to nurture it. You need to care about it. You need to be disciplined with it. These are the attributes of an owner that's going to succeed. I see it every time. I don't see it in just our franchise. I see it in others. Candidates that I spoke with that ended up choosing another franchise, that's perfectly fine. And I love seeing their success stories. I love seeing how active they are and disciplined they are in promoting their business and being that community builder. That's tremendous. And that takes me into sign number 4. And sign number 4 is that you're willing to learn a new industry. You see, in our businesses, you don't necessarily need to be a plumber or an electrician or a drywall rocker or an HVAC technician to own our business. But you do need to be willing to learn the industry. And this is the way that I like to say this. My name is Peter, and if I decided to be in the painting business, I have to actually put on this persona of Pete the painter. I need people around me to know that I'm no longer Pete the plumber or Pete the patcher. I am Pete the painter now. And that's a lot of hard work to do, believe it or not. That there is a lot of transitioning of people's thoughts. Even your closest friends will think that you're still in the plumbing business if you're no longer in the plumbing business and now you're in the painting business. You have to kind of wear that persona, if you will. And that means you need to learn that industry. You need to know everything. I'll need to know everything there is to know about the painting business, what tools to use and what makes jobs run faster and what paint not to use because that'll waste more time and more profit margins. I'll need to know everything about that business. And that means I need to ask questions. That means I need to be humble. But I always have to have this always be learning mindset. The owners who struggle most in franchising are the ones who assume they already know everything. Just because you have 20 years of painting experience does not necessarily mean that you would be the best painting business owner. I've seen this time and time again. One particular industry that I see it in is not a home service business. It's like in the barber business. I can't tell you how many times a barber shop will spin open and close because it was some barber technician that's been cutting hair for 10 years and finally just got into an argument with their boss and didn't like how much they were getting paid one year and said, I'm going to do this on my own. And just because you may have that good technical skill, that technician mindset does not mean that you would be a great business owner because there's a lot to learn about being a business owner that's outside of just being a business owner for whatever home service brand or service industry that you're looking at. And sign number 5 that you are ready for franchise ownership is that you can delay gratification. Another way of saying this is that you can kind of punt profitability here a little bit. You see, most franchise systems will never tell you this, but that's not what this channel is about. This channel is about the truth of in the franchising, and most franchises don't pay off overnight. You've heard me say this before. Year 1 is about foundation laying. If you're in the plumbing business, if you're in a 1-800-Plumber plus Air or a patch-it-up drywall business, or if you're looking at being in those businesses, how many memberships can you sell? The more memberships that you sell for whatever home service brand that you're interested in, that's going to set up year 2 for a lot better success than you ever had in year 1. How many reviews can you get? How many 5-star reviews are you getting? Because the frequency and relevancy of those reviews are going to staple you in your community very quickly. The power of reviews cannot be overstated. If you want to supplant yourself as the plumbing company in Austin, Texas, in Philadelphia, in Fort Worth, or Los Angeles, California, you need reviews, and you need a lot of them. And you need, well, by a lot, you need the frequency of them. So if you're spending year one focusing on laying these elements in foundation, year two is going to look amazing for you. Year three is going to look even better when you compound year one with year two results. But year two here is about consistency. So just keeping that momentum going from year one, keeping it consistent. You're filling in the cracks of what your franchise system errors were in year one. And then year three is where things usually start compounding. We talked a lot about that in a prior episode, is that you're going to scale into multiple trucks and you're going to see the elements of compounding your resources, compounding your overhead expenses, sharing in like marketing efficiencies, if you will, maybe even scaling into multiple territories. And while you're maybe mature in territory number one, territory number 3 or 4 are just getting started, and you have maybe a longer development schedule that you're likely to see a very large payout from. I think that these are all elements of just being patient. If you're patient and disciplined, the model that you're investing into will work. But if you're a business owner that says, I want to make $150,000 today, that's not necessarily a bad question to ask, but I would be always asking and saying, okay, well, what is your plan to doing that? If this is the model and this is what we see, how do you plan to do that? If you want to make $500,000 in 2 years and get your return paid back in 2 years, you will need to look at multiple territories, or you most likely will need to look at multiple territories. But again, this is the point here, is that you still need to be patient. It's going to come, but you need to be disciplined. You need to be laser focused. But if your plan is to say, I'm going to invest $500,000 into a multi-territory franchise and just step away and let a manager run it and expect a $300,000, $400,000 return, sign me up for that franchise right now, please. That's what I would say. I would be partners with you. Let's do it together. Because the reality is it takes so much more than that context to succeed in franchising, to succeed in business ownership. And I've seen people with incredible backgrounds succeed, and I've seen people with great resumes struggle. And the difference is almost always their mindset and their expectations. So, as we wrap up this episode here, if you're asking yourself whether franchising makes sense, this channel is here to help you think clearly. And in future episodes, I'll break down validation and discovery days and how to evaluate opportunities the right way. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next episode.
Thanks for spending a few minutes with me on the Franchise Builder. If you got any value from this, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any future episodes that I'm going to drop. Because I release new, brief videos regularly covering franchising, the trades, and what it really takes to build a business that lasts in this industry. Thank you for watching the Franchise Builder, and I'll see you on the next episode. Coming up this season on The Franchise Builder.
And this is the part that surprises people. It's not one big catastrophic failure here. It's death by 1,000 small leaks. The most successful owners make a mindset shift here. And they stop thinking like technicians who happen to own a business. You don't know which techs are profitable. You don't know which jobs are making money. You don't know which marketing channels work, and you have no idea where your time is being wasted.